is going to go to Rise Nation as they start on defense, and they'll be able to take a tool away from Reciprocity's attack for at least the first 6 rounds before they have to play without it themselves. They're going to eliminate the Glass, which is a very smart idea, especially with the way that Laxing is capable of playing that role. It's a good ban against Reciprocity. Though there are teams that don't run Glass on border, so that's really more of a personal choice, as we have some karaoke happening quite delightfully in the chat. Thank you, Laxing, for that.
Stay alive.
Just don't encourage it.
He can't hear me.
Yeah, but don't join in.
I'm sorry.
We have a very susceptible Twitch chat that is very influential, or easily influenced. Okay. The last thing you want to say is some lyrics to some song like Country Road.
No, Parker! As soon as you started saying lyrics to a song, I was thinking exactly that, and now it's too late. You've done it. So, Ying banned. I'm just going to pretend it didn't happen. Mira gone as well. Rise will get the last ban, and we'll see what they decide to take out. This is interesting. It's the first time today, actually, we're seeing Mira banned. So that doesn't happen usually. Usually twice or 3 times. So we're seeing a little bit of a shift in what is the typical. But Maestro also being taken out. That is not at all surprising. So overall, these bans make a lot of sense. There is no Hard Destructor ban, again, for the second time today on Border. And that's, I guess, a little bit unusual, but not that crazy. Now, we will be going, it looks like, to Ventilation Room Workshop as the first defense here for Rise, which is interesting. Well, somewhat, I suppose, as it is the typically secondary site to Armory.
Here's the thing that I'm going to be looking at for both of these teams. For Reciprocity, it's the flexibility and role swaps. They've had Retro on Ashe. You can always put Skies on Ashe. You can put Laxing on Ashe. And you've got Foxay on Ashe. You've got a long, wonderful history of Reciprocity having a number of Ashe Jaeger mains on their mitts. So they've got that fragging capabilities on a number of operators. They're going to put Foxay on it instead of Retro. You put Retro on Blackbeard. You also have Laxing capable of playing Blackbeard. So there's tons of role overlap on the side of Reciprocity. But they lost a support player in Goddess, a pure bona fide support player, who regularly would receive, I think, a lot of undue criticism for not performing on the score sheet, when in all reality the role was not designed to give stats that would be visible on a score sheet. You picked up somebody in Skies who is a very competent player, but has received criticism in the past for not being as supportive of the rest of his team.
A fragger.
He's too much of a fragger, some people would say. The rest of the way that the team can make that transition is imperative for Reciprocity if they want to continue their success so far over the season, and they've shown flashes of brilliance. For Rise Nation, the big thing is just going to simply be Ghost's acclimation to this roster and his comfort level playing in Pro League. This is no doubt the most competitive level that he's ever played at, and having good synergy, as I mentioned with Hyper, is going to be the most concerning thing for Rise Nation over the next couple play days. Also, keep in mind that Rise Nation is still looking to qualify for the 6 Invitational, so they obviously have a lot to play for as well.
Reciprocity starting their take onto the top floor. They know they need to clear it before they can go downstairs into the site, and they're working at it one step at a time. Lots of droning being done here to try and feel out the defense. They've already established there's nobody playing inside of Office, which is a big chunk of land that they can now just easily vault into. Wary, though, of that peak above the wall. There's nobody playing there on the defensive side, so caution is definitely a good call, but unnecessary in this moment. The C4, though, which did come over that wall, will miss. So the caution really aiding Team Reciprocity in this round so far. Thermite charge will be from Office to Archives, and that's going to be a good line of sight that Foxay teams will be trying to take full advantage of on the repel. He can cut a Slotherland away from the defending team, the entire top floor, and force them all downstairs, all the way into Armory, thanks to that Thermite charge.
You see Beastly playing down inside a workshop as well, which is where a Pulse is going to play most of the time. You have a lot of control and plant denial, and of course you're just able to aid your teammates. He's got England not too far off with him. And of course, since the bomb site is on the main floor, that Pulse actually has an opportunity to push out if need be and possibly go over to Customs, but it looks like Reciprocity have that cut off. So there's no chance for the Pulse to be able to make that move in this circumstance. Making sure that there's no pressure from the bathroom. The Mark, the Shark, as he'll take a bite out of that reinforcement and open it wide up. Foxay not too far off, able to assist his teammates should somebody push. There's a lot of free land for Reciprocity to just be able to walk right in as Vandal and Retro exchange words. And Retro shouts just a little bit louder with Vandal having a tiny bit of HP. Interesting. We just saw that hatch being closed. That might be a problem for Rise Nation, as they usually will require somebody playing upstairs. There's still one body from Rise up top as there's 30 seconds to go, and the first kill goes to Skies. He'll take out what little was left of Vandal. That's the bandit down. Plant going off from Mark as there's going to be a toxic canister sailing way over top. Foxay's there to grab England. A successful plant as Ghost takes out Mark in the post-plant, but Foxay with 2 and Retro picks up his own, meaning that the Pulse of Beastly. The information gatherer will be blind trying to come in, and Skies the first kill. He'll also grab the last, this time with the SMG-11. That pocket rocket, as a lot of people would call it, gets pulled out, and just so devastating as he absolutely dresses down the last member of Rise Nation and Reciprocity walk all over Ventilation Workshop for the very first round.
Very poor site control there from Rise, following, I'm not going to say poor, but a pretty inefficient roam on the top floor. The C4 was, of course, poorly placed, but that's not necessarily Rise's fault, more the caution on the side of Reciprocity. More important to me is how easily they lost control of Archives and Armory. It almost seemed like they didn't try to really challenge it. I would have expected the bandit in Archives to bandit trick the wall and deny the Thermite opening the wall. But it didn't happen for Rise. He forfeited control way too quickly. And because of that, Reciprocity was able to cut off the entire top floor. Following that, they were able to easily execute through tellers. And this is another thing that really puzzles me, is that Rise had no control on Workshop. So, I mean, Reciprocity got the top floor control. That could be argued that Rise is trying to be just be cautious. Fair enough. But then why are they not holding on to the back of Workshop? That's the confusing thing for me on Rise's side. I gotta say, it was probably England's job to hold the back of Workshop. That's what must have been communicated on Rise's side, or maybe misunderstood as well. And unfortunately, he was just unable to place those gas canisters properly to deny the push in. Maybe he was looking somewhere else when the push actually came out. Either way, though, a good attack from Reciprocity, doing only what was necessary to get that win, not overextending themselves in the slightest.
All right. They're going to roll the die back downstairs on Ventilation Workshop. I think that they must not like this armory setup up top. A little perplexing, but I mean, it could possibly work. It's very easy for us as commentators to be critical of things in hindsight, because we can turn around and say, oh, of course that didn't work. But if it works, then we can turn around and be like, oh, that was brilliant. Of course it worked. That's the best thing about hindsight. It doesn't end up usually being wrong when you're trying to spin it to fit what you want here. I know that we might be a little bit critical at times, but I am genuinely confused by this. If it works, all right, but I still think that it probably would have been preferential to see them go up top. We're going to need better control above, though, and you can already see that Reciprocity's interest in that second floor is greatly bolstered by the fact that Rise Nation has more of a presence up top as well. Just a bit of a fail on that skeleton key. Possibly could have landed Skies the very opening kill, as he's going to dance with the devil just outside of that archive doorway. And yeah, there's a castle barricade there, but you don't really need it when you have the skeleton key. You can just open it wide up.
And being open, pretty easy access there for Reciprocity. Upstairs, again, they take control of offices and archives, and they force the Rise Nation roamers back a whole peg. And it's quite a lot of control that has just been established there for Team Reciprocity. Now, Foxay downstairs, attempting to challenge England, who he had previously droned out. Volcam already gone, but poorly communicated there. He did not know that. It's going to make his push, though, a little bit easier, as he doesn't have to turn around as he starts to attack the site. Well-placed nade, possibly, but it is caught by Hyper's ADS. Speaking of Hyper, though, Skies lands the shot on the follow-up, and Hyper goes down. Ghost as well, this time to Retro, and you can see Team Reciprocity in commanding lead. Skies exposes himself, but does not die to England, who misses the shots through the floor. There's all 3 defenders all bunched up.
Tons of marks being coming out here as well to see Reciprocity circle through the site, knowing that their defender's not too far off. Lots of sites trained at these various doorways as Laxing catches Vandal from the main door and picks up his second onto England. Former teammates as Laxing and England team together on Elevate for quite so long, and then on Counterlogic Gaming as well for just a period of time. Foxay gets the very final kill as it's a double up with Laxing there, unable to grab a third piece. That'll be 2-0 Reciprocity. Is it safe to say that this ventilation workshop experiment
Yes.
has probably
Yes.
fallen apart?
Yes.
I think I would say that Rise Nation probably understands that as well, as they have Armory Archives locked in immediately.
Yeah, so clearly, no, here's the unfortunate thing about that blunder for Rise Nation is they really wanted to stick to their guns on ventilation. If you lose a site that is your typical rotation on a map like Border, that's the number 2 site. If you lose a site like that, you're looking at a bad situation, but you can recover. It's the number 2 site. You can still defend your number 1 site and take that win. The problem is that Rise doubled down, and both of the times they went to ventilation, it was absolute domination for Reciprocity. What that means is that Rise does not have a secondary site that they are likely to be successful in defending. And because they already gave away 2 rounds on the potential secondary site, now they're going to win Armory. If in the best case scenario, they're going to win Armory, and then outside the best case scenario, they're going to have to go back to ventilation or pick an off site. So it's unlikely that Rise is going to be able to win this half, and at best, you're looking at maybe two round wins if they can't defend the secondary site, and that's to an Armory. And they won't have any other chances apart from that.
You have to be able to take these gambles as teams, right? We've seen teams start off, the old team that was known as Most Wanted, now known as Space Station, Vitality. Teams that have started on washroom tellers on this site. And really a lot of times don't work out the way you want it to, but still you take that gamble and it could pay off huge. You catch them sleeping, you end up getting a big victory on a site that you're probably not going to go back to, and then you have the opportunity to go to the next 2, both Ventilation Workshop and then of course Armory up top. So those kind of things are able to work, but it's really a crash course in trying to balance out risk versus reward.
And the problem I think here is that Rise Nation doubled down, and it did not work out. So it's very dangerous for them, and it's going to put them in a really tricky spot. But luckily for them, at least, or so we believe, they have gone to Armory, okay? And they're going to be at least, hopefully, in a good position to take 1 of these defensive rounds, if not 2, when they go onto this Armory site a second time, probably the final round of this half. Now, we'll see. Team Reciprocity could still easily win this attack, and that would put Rise Nation in a very tricky spot. And they're going to be attacking onto Office. They've already established control of Office, and there's actually nobody inside of Archives. I'm guessing there's probably a C4 from below. We've got a Pulse in play, so that's likely what's going on here from Rise Nation. They're trying to play the vertical game. That is a dangerous play, but it can work out very well for you. The problem is, if there's no... Oh, there are prepped holes, so all of the Archive site is covered right now by C4 from below if it's able to go off. It's going to be Ghost in the position to deny this plant. It's going down, though. No one's stopping it just yet. England with the peek will take down Mark. And Fox A will get the refrag, but that is plant denied. So huge. Sky is able to get another, though, and it's just the 2 roamers downstairs. Ghost is the most important player in this situation. He has to deny the next attempt of the plant, and it will be on a soft floor. So the potential is there, but Ghost is distracted right now by all the roam clear. Laxing will take him down, just putting Hyper in the 1 versus 4. And this is all but over. Hyper would have to have the clutch of his career to bring this back. It's going to be a narrow one. As he challenges Retro, he will miss all of his shots. Going towards Customs, though, he takes down Laxing. An excellent kill. Sees Retro, cannot get the kill, though. So little time for him to make it back upstairs. He's not even going towards the stairs. He does not have time to get to the diffuser. The round is over. Hyper can at best pad his stats here. And Team Reciprocity put themselves up 3-0.
Just like a jackrabbit, Retro dancing in front of him in some or maybe some early celebration from Reciprocity.
We've seen that before.
Given what we've seen before in the up-down constant from Retro there, as that is a whirlwind of wordplay from you to get us to the finish line on that round. And Reciprocity will have now won on Vents twice and now Armory.
Whirlwind of wordplay, I like that.
I alliterate from time to time.
You do.
I do.
You're good at that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's almost like it's my job. Armory Lockers will be the site for Rise Nation yet again. They'll go back up top. They're going to bring a lot of different operators this time around, and I think that's a wise idea. Now, I know that you were saying that Ghost was the person who had to try to deny the plan. You were absolutely correct. With the pulse downstairs, you have the best tool at your disposal. You have a cardiac sensor. Hey, look, this guy's immobile for at least 3 seconds. He's maybe planting. Maybe I should see for him. I don't know. LOL. But anyway, you now have Rise Nation running with Hyper having a vigil in this case. and Ghost is going to probably go back downstairs as the Pulse. What I'd like to see from Hyper is maybe some more support. A big part of why Ghost wasn't able to deny that plant was number one, lack of information and intel, and number two, that Reciprocity had at least one person you saw was laxing as the Zofia downstairs, deliberately trying to keep Ghost from being able to sit on his cardiac sensor and figure out exactly where that plant was going. That was very good play from Reciprocity, but in a 4v2, you can do that. If you can get an early opening kill by running over them with a Jaeger or possibly even a Vigil here, it's going to leave Ghost downstairs to do that plant denial job in a lot easier shape.
I do also think that it was a mistake on Rise's side to invest everything in Ghost. I mean, that is a lot of pressure on one person's shoulders. They didn't even try to defend Archives. Did you notice they had nobody trying to hold Archives? They're like, yeah, come on in. And sometimes that can work as a trap strategy. But there was nothing else going on. There was no side pressure. There were no yokai drones in the site, as far as I could tell. I don't believe there were. There was nothing that Rise was putting into play there to assist Ghost, and you cannot put it all on a Pulse downstairs. That is too much for him alone. So definitely something that Rise is going to have to shore up. I mean, what ended up happening was that England rushed into the site. He rushed and tried to get... He rushed it. He got the kill. He denied Mark the plant, but
the way
he shouldn't have to do that.
Right, but the way that England played it was actually great, and it was really up to Foxay to try to cut it down, and Foxay missed it. And because of this, England does deny the plant, but you end up throwing your life away. You lose your smoke. That's detrimental. Foxay was a second off the beat to keep Mark alive, and a perfect opportunity to get the plant down the first time. But look at now. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds, and look at where Foxay is. He's just there. There's nobody from Rise in B at all. They're going to be downstairs with Vandal taking out Laxing, which will make Ghost's life a little easier. But this could be deja vu all over again, as I believe they say, as Vandal very low on HP. Very easy for even one errant bullet to claim his life. So, keep Ghost alive. Rise, that is your main focus here. And if they can accomplish that, then this round looks much better than the first 3.
One thing that's important is there's only 2 people on A, so if Skies can actually make a good push through the main hallway, it's possible he could completely destroy this defense and simply shift the attack onto the A bomb site. He's going to have to make a play, though. He can't just sit here. He will take out England through the barricade, and Skies gets a second onto Vandal, who is trying to support his teammates. Mark goes in for the plant behind the bomb, but the C4 still below. Ghost will deny it. Well placed indeed, and there we go. Rise's gamble pays off. But look at the HP and manpower here. Easy site control here for Skies, who gets his 3rd in the round. He's going for the 4th, and he'll get it. Ghost, the last one alive. The clutch player, if he can hold this off, but he's only got 30 seconds. An excellent shot there on the retro. Catching the flank, but it's the ace from Skies. And Reciprocity take yet another round, 4 in a row.
What a return for Skies back to Pro League, and this whole team appears to be playing around it so well. When we had the team when they were known as Cloud9, banging on all cylinders, the duo was the way that Mark and Laxing could control the map, with Foxay playing support every now and then when need be, relying on Retro and Goddess to hold things down. The changes that Reciprocity have made thus far have proven to be very well calculated. And even though Mark, at the moment, I don't think Mark has a kill. If he does, he must have got it in the last round. But the last time we saw the scoreboard, he had 0 kills. There's no contribution whatsoever in terms of actual numbers. But he's been droning. He's been getting his plants down. And yeah, that's been the big focus for him. So that change to empower Laxing Skies, as well as Foxay, to come forward, it's been very strong. And I will be honest with you, Rise have had a miserable day so far. They have really not shown any real coordination so far. The fact they vacated the site, it's exactly what we saw against Orglis on Clubhouse yesterday. It just looks like a massive lack of cohesion for this team.
See, the problem for me that really weirds me out, Rise seem to be calculating these plays. It looks like they are deliberately vacating B to bait Reciprocity into B to get kills, right? We've seen that done before. But again, I will reiterate what I believe to be the problem with this attempt. they are not in any other way influencing the attack. There is no other layer to this defense. Nothing at all. I mean, we've got some roamers here and there in odd positions. We do have 2 players playing inside of Armory by lockers, but they're not. That's not. I mean, you can't rely on just the C4 from below. You cannot do that. That has been demonstrated now twice in a row for Rise, and they really do need to come up with a different strategy. They've doubled up on the C4, by the way. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but they've brought a Valkyrie and a Pulse to C4 underneath. So they doubled down on ventilation, and now they're doubled down on defending Armory B site specifically with C4 from below. It's a very dangerous game that Rise is playing.
And like with all good fried chicken products, you don't want to double down too much because I hear that leads to high cholesterol and even possible. Okay.
I don't know that reference.
You don't know what the double down is?
No, what is that?
Oh my god.
Is that, I'm guessing it's
a type of food.
Okay.
It's horrifying. Anyway.
Is it?
It was like the burger, like the bread was chicken breasts.
Okay, stop.
Yeah.
Let's move back to the game.
I know, I saw the look on your face. Anyway, so one thing that we have seen so far from Reciprocity that has continued onwards in almost every single round is their speed at which they can take over Office and Fountain. And Rise Nation have deliberately collapsed every time and have given it up. This has been a conscious decision from Rise. And if it hasn't been a conscious decision, well, then it's been a very poor one on their end.
I still think, even if it is a conscious decision, that it's a poor calculation. I mean, there has to be some kind of layer to your defense other than the C4. It hasn't worked yet. If it does work, I don't think it's because of the strategy they've established. I think it's going to be because they probably got lucky. But we don't know yet. There's only a minute left in this round. Rise Nation are looking to execute on the site.
Once again, Rise Nation is going to pin all their hopes on both Hyper, good old Paul, and Ghost downstairs, trying to get those C4s off to stop any plant denial that could possibly happen. And that's going to be a big focus for Reciprocity, with they have a numbers advantage up top. Foxay is just going to miss, and Skies, no, you don't want to be doing that. Reciprocity will lose 2, 1 to a great C4 and 1 to an unfortunate team kill. Diffuser will fall as well, which means that somebody will be tasked with getting tagged in. Rise Nation might have just been given the best opportunity they have. Laxing will try to keep it close as Vandal finds Retro, meaning that Laxing and Skies, the duo as a lot of people would call it, will be the only 2 left. Skies trying to draw out Beastly. Jaeger is playing by Sandwich, but Ghost absolutely beheads Laxing, and England will find Skies as well, leaving Reciprocity looking on longingly at a round that fell to pieces very fast. Some big mistakes from Rex side of thing, but it will be the very first round for Rise. They needed a victory on that one. They needed one in a hurry as they were in a hole, and they'll finally get one.
It's good that they managed to get that round, but it really more came down to Reciprocity tripping over themselves in my mind, and it's curious that that happened, considering they were clearly aware how Rise Nation were trying to defend the site. It was the same exact thing that they've been doing for the last couple rounds, well, last 3. They did it for 3 rounds in a row. And Reciprocity changed their formula. They moved Skies from coming to the main hallway off Jackal into IQ, and he doubled up on Foxay's angle, which it was an angle that Foxay wasn't doing a whole lot from. He was cutting off the peaks from the A players, but he wasn't getting a whole lot of kills there. Maybe that's why. In the end, though, it was a bad move from Reciprocity. It resulted in the TK, as they were just not working so well together on that same angle. But 1 for Rise Nation, good for them. And we will be moving to the very last defense on Rise's side to close out the first half. To close that half out, they will be going to custom. So not going to try and go to ventilation again. And that makes sense considering how dominant the wins were for Reciprocity every single time Rise went to vent. Customs is a good site as well if you hold it correctly. And it's, again, for those of you who have not seen this site defended, I will remind you, you defend it by holding CCTV, which is the room above both of the bomb sites, and where you see the Castle, Vandal, and the Jaeger Ghost right now.
I'm very fascinated to see how much map control Rise Nation is going to forfeit like last time. Because same thing that we see on Clubhouse, and we just saw it in the Space Station DZ matchup, was that you can deliberately peel off once you've wasted enough time. This is something that Space Station has always notoriously been good as a team for, and and they've done it previously. It was actually something that we saw from Rise when they were Mouse last season. They actually do quite well too, which is that they can control quite a bit of this map, have map dominance, and then just fall off and let your opponents come in. The problem is that Reciprocity is very aggressive and very accurate with their shots. You don't want to find yourself in a position where you give them too much control because they'll make you pay for it.
Absolutely agree there. And it looks like the main focus for Reciprocity is going to be that passport wall, which is a pretty common attack strategy when it comes to customs. They haven't fully gotten in yet, as they're being very cautious now after losing that last round. Rise Nation still have full control of CCTV, so they should be able to deny the plant, but if the passport wall does get opened up, that would be good control for Reciprocity nonetheless. Looks like Reciprocity is a little bit worried about a potential roam inside of Workshop. There's actually nobody there right now.
They haven't really done a great job of droning everything out.
Yeah.
That hesitation speaks to the fact that they just have not been able to determine where everybody is, and that's obviously cause for concern. Though one of the off-site players is going to be on Beastly, who's actually inside.
What?
Skies is right there. He's at the precipice, but England will slam the door on Skies and put him back in his prison. This guys will be off the board for a minute left, but that was very close for the Sledge to be able to get that kill and could have been a massive deal breaker for Rise Nation. Foxay's patience as he snaps onto Hyper, and Mark will find his own onto Vandal. Say goodbye to England as Mark, the gunner, will leave Ghost. It's a 1v4. He'll have to rotate outside, but he does have the double door through Passport. He walks right in, and that carbine will chew up Mark. But a very good trade from Foxay as Reciprocity will close out their attack with a scoreline of 5-1. They're one round away from walking away with 1 point. And dare I say it, this Reciprocity roster looks pretty darn scary.
No, you're definitely right there, Parker.
Thank you, Michael.
Reciprocity has been doing very well thus far in the match. Rise Nation, on the other hand, not so much. I mean, in that last round, there were just huge gaps in the defense from Rise, and all Reciprocity needed to do was walk into the site and start tearing people up. I mean, you said it yourself, Reciprocity very accurate across the board, able to land their shots reliably, and Rise, when caught off guard, which is clearly what happened there, unable to adjust accordingly. England had a nice attempt there. He was able to take down Skies, but it was not enough to recover that round at that point. Skies clearly made the call, hey guys, you can walk into sight, and everyone else, Reciprocity, just waltz in and kill after kill in Reciprocity corner.
And you want to know one thing that I do want to give Skies praise for here is that he's always been a player who's had a flashy style. He's able to rack up the kills quite well, but Skies has been on the front lines for his team almost every encounter. He is playing very tight, and this was something that Obey could have done better during their tenure in Pro League. Prior to that team flaming out in pretty disappointing style, I think, for a lot of their fans and for the roster as a whole, Skies would often be isolated, or isolating himself. Whether the team had him playing that role, whether he did that himself, that was just something to observe. With Reciprocity, he's been with the cut and thrust of this team, and it has been excellent because he's playing well with Laxing and Foxay and trying to support Mark and Retro with the rest of the team doing their job, and it's been working out through 3 games so far. That cohesion and playing as a unit is a real difference maker for not just the squad, but also Skies' performance too.
You know what it seems like to me from Skies' perspective?
What does it seem like to you from Skies' perspective?
He has faith in his team. It feels like he really believes like his team will back him up because he's committing to his plays. Every time Skies is in a moment where he could seize an opportunity, he does. He commits to that play. Whether it's going to work out or not is beside the point. He commits. There's caution, sure, but he really does believe that if he's going to die, one of his teammates will back him up, who will have his refrag. And I think that's an important thing for any player to have, and I think it's definitely something good to see Skies believing in his team.
That's been the case so far, though, right?
Yeah.
Is that so far this team has set themselves up for refrags very effectively.
Yeah.
Foxay from below is going to spot one body up top in CCTV as a Claymore gets set down, and Ghost and Foxay will be in quite the tussle down there. They say it takes 2 to tango, and well, they're natural counters for one another, and those separate counterparts try to determine their location. This will be a potentially fatal move for Ghost if he stops moving for any period of time, knowing that there's a pulse beneath him.
At the same time, if the heartbeat detector is out and Ghost simply looks down with his gadget, that could be a fatal move for Foxay. So it's just a bit of a dance to death there, whether or not they are aware. No deaths yet, though, so far, and we're just over halfway through this round. It's one standing still, but oh no, a move. He double checks though. Fox A, very cautious here, does not want to waste his utility, rightfully so.
Rise Nation right now don't really seem to know exactly where they're going to push from. They've had Ghost dedicated to flank watch for the last minute and a half, trying to see what they can accomplish. They've also got one body watching the main door, which is where Fox A is playing not too far off of. Vandal C8 will need to be able to outduel the UMP, and with good aim, it should have no problem doing that, all things considered. I think almost indisputably the C8 is a much better weapon. But Fox A sees 4 bodies, 4 pulses on that cardiac sensor as he goes back downstairs, but if he puts himself in harm's way, then there'll be Vandal there. A couple shots from Vandal, though, maybe a bit too early, possibly trying to draw out Fox A as he cooks a grenade. Ghost gets down as Skies tosses out a C4. Vandal finds Laxing. Fox A takes out England, and Vandal will refrag as he now pushes up those main stairs. Rise, a very surprising burst in here as Hyper takes out Skies. Mark is there. Retro trying to take on 2 bodies. He's going to need some help. Where's Mark? There he is. He'll take one down, but he's got another body with 10 seconds to go. He'll give his position away for just a second. Beastly sees the head, and an asphyxiating bolt will prompt the Jaeger to come up, but Beastly looks the wrong way. He knew where he was, and Mark is able to capitalize and punish Rise Nation, securing his team at minimum a draw. And Reciprocity, well, they shovel themselves out and dig themselves out of a pretty big hole. They will come back in real impressive fashion, 6-1 for Reciprocity.
Certainly the best round that Rise has had thus far, in my mind, and yet they could not win it. The one win that they do have, again, I would put on Reciprocity's shoulders. They stumbled over themselves, and that's just, it hurts to see, but Team Reciprocity in a good position to end this match. They only need to win one of the next 5 rounds, including this one. Now, they're going to be going to ventilation. The first time defending this, of course. This is the second defensive round in this second half. And they were successful on Armory, as you just witnessed. Sky is having a pretty good match there. 11 kills, and Fox A not too far behind with 7. Meanwhile, on the other side, Rise struggling to put kills together. Beastly currently without a kill. Left in that 1 versus 1. He did struggle a little bit. He knew where the Jaeger was, as you stated. He clearly saw the player, but could not land the shots.
One thing that's tough for us is that it looked like we saw. I mean, you saw the head of the Jaeger.
He brought the
surely
fireball.
must have it, but then why did he look to the left? That's the real confusing thing, is that the Jaeger is not capable of crossing.
I think he just made a mistake, Parker. That's the only explanation I have. You know, it happens. It happens. You know, when you're practicing, you get the muscle memory. Got to check the angle. Got to check the angle. You don't really think so much sometimes, and you make mistakes. It happens. That's the only thing. That's the only explanation I have. Because either that, or he didn't see the Jaeger, as you theorized. Maybe he didn't see the Jaeger. He put the firebolt down to cut off potential rotation, and then committed to clearing left, so then he could clear right into the firebolt. If that's the case, it was a smart play by Beastly. It honestly was. If he didn't see the Jaeger, but it didn't work out.
No, and then Mark just popped right up, and he was way too worried and preoccupied, as he should have been with securing the kill, which is why he was going in a hurry. And at that point, the closer side of Jaeger, who no longer has access to an ACOG. Yeah. Sorry, I almost forgot for a second. He doesn't have one. And it obviously being able to take engagements at that close range obviously helped. And the carbine does so much damage that it's not difficult. So ultimately ended up being a pretty easy circumstance for Mark to find himself in that was aided by a mistake.
But here in this round, Fox A tussling with his opponents already pretty early on. We've seen easy office control for both teams so far. Neither defensive squads choosing to try and hold onto it. But Mark is getting aggressive on the angles, doesn't need the ACOG, and will land the headshot on the Ghost on a very long angle, but peeks into Hyper and gives the kill away. So there you go, Hyper happy about that, I'm sure, and immediate refrag there for Rise. They've also lost a lot of HP on Vandal and Hyper though, so definitely a win so far in the engagements for Reciprocity.
was Foxay played that the right way. I would say looking into Fountain, anticipating that there might have been a second body in there with Hyper, but obviously the read was incorrect. Trying to keep Rise in this, the rest of the team is going to have to pick off the remaining 3 members of Reciprocity as Foxay does get found from above. That should be good for Rise Nation to be able to keep control, as an impact trick from Retro will go out, but it looks like he might have actually missed 2 X-Kairos or got all of them, actually, as a great toss with the impact through the drone hole will prevent that wall from being opened up. It does look like it's been opened up a tiny bit. A preemptive fire from Retro will find Hyper as he gets taken down. The castle's still there as Laxing holds an angle, and now wandering in towards the bathroom will be Retro holding that UMP at head level. The final 30 seconds will tick down, and Reciprocity looks for yet another victory after an exciting draw in yesterday's matchup against Space Station. Retro hugging the wall inside a bathroom, with Laxing having that crossfire. Trying to possibly draw somebody out. He'll get flashed and Retro completely blinded, but the pounce will come a little bit later. And there's nobody there to help him. Laxing will need to run in. Skies takes one down with a bandit battery, or Foxy takes one down, and it's all up to Laxing to clean up a kill as sweet as that gingerbread gun skin, and Reciprocity will make very quick work of Rise Nation without even barely breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
It's a 7-1 scoreline.
And that's the second 7-1 in a row, back-to-back, day by day, for Rise Nation. They are struggling right now in this season, and Reciprocity, on the other hand, are absolutely on a tear. They are doing great, having 2 wins and 1 draw, the 1 draw being against Space Station yesterday.
I don't know what is going on with this Rise Nation team.
Nor I.
This was not the team who were world beaters through that second half of the season. Yeah. England comes onto this team. They struggle in the U.S. national circuit, but they absolutely explode on through the qualifiers. They just fall short of making it to the Paris Major after Obey takes it in the final set of matches in the grand finals for those qualifiers. Keep in mind that this team almost made it there. They storm up the standings from last place and almost make it to the Rio finals. And now they've won 2 maps in the back-to-back and have yet to really find any success with this roster. How much of that, I want to know, is the loss of vertical? How much of that is simply adding Ghost to this roster?
I honestly do not know what is going on with Rise right now, but they are seriously struggling, and it's something they're going to need to pick up moving forward. I mean, I don't really know what to say, Parker, because across the board it looks like Rise is playing bad. It's not just the gunplay, it's not just the teamwork, it's also the strategy. I mean, it's the whole package right now for Rise. They're struggling, and I have to imagine there's some kind of something going on internally that we're not aware of, because they really aren't the same team we're used to seeing from the previous season. I mean, yeah, I'm really kind of surprised that this has been 2 devastating losses in a row for Rise. But let's not take away from Reciprocity, who were playing very well today. They definitely earned the win. They earned the dominant win at that, the 7-1. And they had 1 round where they made some major mistakes, and they lost that one. But other than that, they had a really great match.
Reciprocity played lights out today, I would say. They really came to win, and that showed in the way that they played on both attack and defense. Now, their defense, they won both their defenses, but I'm going to say that their defense still looked a lot shakier, and it came in the dying seconds of the rounds for them to be able to box them both out. It was their attacks that I was much more impressed on. So, we'll bring up an interview with Reciprocity, though, and we'll say hello to Davide Bucci and the Bucci gang. Hello, Foxay. Congratulations on your victory today.
What's up, Intera? Thanks.
First things first, with this new team and the way that this new team is gelling, you brought on Skies, and it really does look like you're all starting to finally fill into the roles. Now, you've actually had quite a bit of flexibility on your roles, which has actually been something across all of North America. You've got Mark I gelling now, if I remember correctly from you saying last time, but take us through the way that you put these roles out, because you've had Retro on Ashe. I think you were playing Ashe today. You know that both Laxing and Skies are capable of playing Ashe as well. How does the team break down, and is it more map dependent on what roles your team slots into?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the map based off of who will play what role, but the thing is that we're really good. Everyone can play any role pretty much on this team, and I think that's a good thing, especially with this game. It's so fluid, and changes so much. So I think it's great that we have everyone being able to play everything, and there's not someone who has to be hard stuck on a role and doesn't have any flexibility to them. So yeah, I mean, I think it's great that we can always change.
Right. Today on your attacks, one thing that both Kickstar and I noticed was your ability to take map control very fast. You on Ash, Skies on Sledge, being able to just get into Fountain and getting into Office within the first 90 seconds without really any issue at all. How much of that, from your opponent's perspective, do you think was Rise setting up to try and pin you down on a possible retake when they knew you were pushing into Archives, versus how much of that do you just simply think was good droning on your part and putting that pressure to force Rise back against their will?
Yeah, so we were taking it really fast. A big thing, though, is that they were giving us Fountain, I think, because they assumed that they would be able to play aggressive downstairs, which we were able to read on. We knew they were doing that, so that's why I would just run into Fountain every single time right away, Ash open the wall, and just have complete control of up top, and then all we had to focus on was getting rid of the C4. There was like some rounds where we would aggressively push in just because, you know, I don't know, we were trying to make a play or something, but for the most part, yeah, they were giving us a lot of movement, and we were just taking it right away. So I think it was kind of like good on our part to capitalize, but also a mess up on their part to just give it up.
Absolutely. How have you found the transition away? Because you did make the roster move, picking up Skies over Goddess. How have you found the transition in terms of picking up more slack on support roles for other players who might not have necessarily been in supporting roles? And how has that transition been in particular in order to aid Skies, who's been absolutely tearing it up in terms of his performance on the scoreboard, but also farther down the rest of the list with, of course, you and Laxing, and as well Mark and Retro being able to pull in a lot of frags. How have you been able to adjust to these new supporting roles, and how have you passed that along to ensure that you're maximizing your ability to, as you said, make a play and take map control that fast?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just kind of playing around and seeing with who wants to play what. Surprising, when we picked up Skies, he was actually said that he would love to play, you know, some support roles on most maps, whatever, you know, smoke, stuff like that. And I think the rest of us just kind of like pushed around Mark, Skies, and Retro more than me and Lax, and me and Lax would just fill whatever we needed around our strat in a way. So yeah, I don't know. I just think it was just kind of playing around, and we have a lot of fun now, just like we did before. But I think now it's still a good environment, so it's great. You know, we all accept each other's ideas and everything. So at any point, we can switch roles, switch places, whatever.
I'm sure that flexibility will pay you dividends. You don't really have to sweat too much this week with the 6 invitational qualifiers for North America, because you were fortunate enough to win at DreamHack Montreal. So we will see you in Montreal yet again in February. But with that said, enjoy your break until the North American Pro League comes back in just a couple days. We're in the midst of Super Month. Anything to say to your fans, the viewers, your sponsors, your org, etc.?
I was going to say this on our last one, but so for this kind of thank you for everyone who's following us and supporting us from Cloud9 being when we have now been a part of Reciprocity. We appreciate all the love and support and your dedication to us. And we're just going to continue to go hard and keep playing as best as we can and hopefully impress you guys for Invitational. So thank you.
Congratulations again, and enjoy the rest of your night.
You too.
Thank you very much. Obviously enjoying the new organization. I like that he said that it's a fun environment and they're enjoying it. That really goes well with what you said about the fact that they're trusting each other.
It's definitely one of the most important things in any team. So the day is over, and we have the standings to show you guys to see where it all ended up landing. You see Evil Geniuses there at the top, Team Reciprocity, and Dark Zero not too far behind. And then from there, it's pretty close from 4 to 8.
Yeah, Reciprocity leapfrogging their way over Dark Zero, the same amount of points, but obviously since they haven't played one another, it's the round differential that comes in here. The only team so far that does not, three teams rather, that don't have a loss, but two of them have ties, rather. EG has obviously been leading the way, and look at the round differential already for EG and Reciprocity. And Reciprocity has not exactly had the worst opponents either. It'll be exciting to see when Reciprocity and EG actually square off against one another. That will be interesting, to say the least.
On that note, neither has Evil Geniuses. Evil Geniuses have been playing against some pretty substantial opponents, and actually they're technically, I guess, the only team to beat Space Station, because Space Station has 2 draws, and Evil Geniuses beat them in the first play day of North America. So that's an impressive thing. EG has been doing really well so far this season.
Right, and that was our first match of the day. So there's a lot of upheaval afoot in every single region. You better not tune that dial away from this channel, because we've got a couple more weeks for you to go. As we said, Super Month, as we lead up to the 6 Invitationals, and we're also not too far off from the 6 Invitational qualifiers, which will be coming up and actually have been going on in the background for both Latin America and EU over the last week or so. And a big shout out needs to be paid to all of our community casters and employed talent as well, who are taking time out of their day in order to make this happen and give you the utmost visibility for all of these teams. That's it for Kickstar and myself, though. Milos and Emzo will be back for the next set of Pro League broadcasts, and then Kix and I will be back after that, and then Milos and Emzo, and then Kix and I, and then Milos and Emzo, and then Kix and I, basically back and forth forever until we are finished with Super Month. So, with that said, this will conclude this broadcast. The 3rd play day for North America in the books. We'll see you again very soon for the next set of Pro League action. Have yourself a great evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. Take care.